Oh, good day, everyone, or evening, or morning, or whatever it is whenever you're watching this. Hope it's going well. I welcome you to the Quad Life. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about breathing. For those of you that have just joined, I am unable to breathe on my own. So, in addition to not being able to move anything below my shoulders, not being able to breathe is kind of a significant one as well. So for nearly 26 years, I used a regular ventilator with a trach and tubes and ventilator behind me in my chair or beside me in bed, and that's how I breathed. And like it went all right. I used that configuration or that setup, whatever I would say, all the way through grade school, junior high, high school, college, and until several years after that. But in late 2010, I got what's called a diaphragmatic pacemaker system. So I'll leave a card up here that has a video that's more about it if you're interested. But it basically gives my diaphragm an electric pulse or a shock every 4 seconds or 15 times a minute. And that is what makes me breathe, whether I'm ready to or not. So when you hear me pause at weird times, well, that's when I have to take a breath, whether I like it or not. Now, the way it works is that I have wires in my diaphragm that connect to an external box. And that box is what controls everything. It has a battery in it, and it's set to however many breaths per minute I want, and also what stimulation to give me. So that stimulation depends on how deep of a breath I take, or like how long my breath is, and that kind of thing. Well, I had initial settings when I got on the pacemaker in 2010, and it took a while for my diaphragm to get used to it and to switch from doing the vent 24/7 to now doing the pacemaker 24/7. In that time, I had my settings changed once, and that helped, but I think that was in 2014, according to my records that I last had them done. So, 10 years ago. And in the past 10 years, I have not changed a lot physically. My weight maybe has gone up a little bit, but not anything significant. So if it had, that would also change your need for having deeper or different breaths. However, in probably the last year or 6 months at least, I've really noticed that at night my oxygen saturation has been pretty low, like 95% or below. And I haven't been sleeping real great, which isn't unusual. I take sleep meds anyway. But I've been wanting to do something about it. So about a month ago now, I got a different pacemaker or control box with some different settings to it. Now, in order to even do that, I had to communicate with the headquarters out in northern Ohio, and we discussed, what I'm looking to do, what changes I need, what's going on, and then they send me a pacemaker in the mail, or FedEx or UPS, whatever the case is, that I then try for a while and see how it works. So when I got the new box, or new to me, the settings of it were similar to my previous setup, except that it gave more of a jolt, I guess, for my diaphragm when I took a breath. And at first, it took a little bit to get used to, and I think I was only on it for a couple hours the first night. But as I got used to it and used it more at night, I liked it, and my O2 was a little bit better, and I started sleeping better as well. However, about 6 o'clock or so in the morning, when my night nurse would change my pacemaker back to one of my day versions, then I really noticed I was getting less breath. And it would take a couple minutes to transition again. So now I've started using the larger breath during the day as well. So right now I'm on that box actually. And so I'm getting a bigger breath. And really this morning when I was getting ready, I didn't even notice I was on it because I've been on it all night and got used to it. I have tried it during the day some previous to this, and after a while my lungs were getting sore after, say, probably 8-9 hours on it straight. But right now I've been on it since about 11 o'clock last night, and it's now about 1:20, so in the 13 hours or so I've been on it, it's been fine. So it's likely that I will have both of my units changed so they're giving me the larger breath all the time. I don't notice a big change during the day that, like, I'm speaking any louder or anything like that. Maybe I am, but I haven't noticed it that much. But I do breathe a little bit better, so that's nice. So that's what I'm working on right now. Well, it's one of the things I'm working on right now anyway. For other breathing aspects, I still have been having some trouble with my trach button. I've been going through rounds of antibiotics around it, and I do the treatment to it and everything looks good, and then I go off of it and then I get all kinds of problems again. This latest round was 2 weeks ago that it ended after 2 weeks on it, and for about 10 days afterward everything was great. However, now I need to have a tissue over it again to keep my clothing halfway clean, and when I get back to my computer, I'm hoping that I'll have a note from my doctor on starting up a treatment again around it. But that's been the case lately, so we'll see what happens if we change buttons or what's going to go on this summer. But that's about it for this week's entry. Part of it, working with breathing, is, again, for me, a reminder of what the Bible says, that in Genesis 2, God gave the breath of life to Adam and breathed in him the soul or human flesh. So every breath that I get every 4 seconds is a reminder of God's provisions, and also that we never know when our last breath will be. So let's keep that in mind for this next week, and I will see you next week again and give an update on whatever's going on at that point. So thank you for watching, and bye for now.